welcome back. Adam Paul, Time Warp Custom Paints. I got my buddy here, B Diamond.
What's up, everybody?
Some of you might have seen him before, with or without his shirt on.
That's true.
He's back. He's come to show us what he has learned. You know, if you remember back, I think it was like mid-December we did.
Yeah. Because it was cold.
Yep, we did a live. Yep. And I said, hey, well, why don't you come down? And you've never tried painting before, so maybe we'll give it a shot and see how you do.
Yeah.
So you were all for it.
I was nervous because it was live and I could just totally screw up.
Totally screw it up. I wasn't gonna let that happen though. But you did it all yourself.
Yep.
And I didn't do any of it really. I mean, maybe I kind of.
No, you didn't. You didn't do Jack Dookie.
Yeah.
You just said, hey, do it. And then what did he try to do, Ash? He tried to show me something, then I did. Oh, the webbing.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, I'll show you the webbing. No, hell no, you can't show me the webbing. And we're almost all the way through.
You're right. So you did it all.
I did it all.
So I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you
for that. So between that time, I think you've done like how many other projects do you think you've done? Start to finish.
Start to finish projects. Goodness sakes, now I gotta just rough guess. 20.
Okay.
Under 20.
Okay. So you've been painting like skateboards, helmets,
mailboxes.
There you go. A bread maker.
Bread box.
Bread box.
Little things here and there, and then a 1948 Chevy truck roof.
Yep. Yep. And that was just recent, right?
That was recent.
Yeah, you're knocking them out, dude.
And then now
you got the top. You've done the roof to your new car.
My new car.
So you've only had this thing for how long?
Couple weeks, maybe.
Couple weeks. You've already got that knocked out. So that's what happens when you get the bug. Sometimes it turns into something more than that, and then you just kind of become obsessed.
Yeah.
So you're looking at obsessed right here. This is he's obsessed with paint. It's okay. Eventually, you'll kind of burn out a little bit, but you'll find the love again, and then kind of go back and forth. But it'll be years before that happens, I bet.
Well, good. I mean, my actual personal business is suffering a little bit, but I love painting more.
Yeah, you love painting more. Oh, and then, eventually it's going to become lucrative, so where it'll be a side hustle. And really, at this point, you're already at the point where you should be charging what, somewhat of normal prices. When you're first starting out, it's okay to, give some stuff away, maybe do a project if they buy the paint, you can do stuff like that. But there's a certain point that when you get to a certain level, you need to start charging at least what the rest of the industry is charging. If you're going in there, if you're the new guy and you go in and you lowball everybody, it's not a good way to enter into our community. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're a beginner, you're not as good, your price is going to be cheaper. We all understand that. But once you get to the point where your stuff is good, you need to be charging kind of what everybody else is charging. A little more, a little less, that's fine. But that way we can all still have a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, for real.
So it's not, you just have to remember that. And you win some, you lose some. Some people don't want to pay. They're probably not going to be a good customer anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's actually one of the things I've learned down at my personal business, B Diamond Leathers. I get people that come in, they want a custom wallet, let's say, and I give them a price. Hey, it's $500 for this one wallet. Oh, all right. And then you don't see them again. Then some people say that, and they're like, "Cool, let's do it right now."
Yep.
So you just never know.
And those are the customers you want, and they're usually the easiest ones to work with.
Yes,
so.
They are.
So, and then you did dip your hands a little bit into doing the mural. You got that?
I do have it.
So we did do a live on this, and he snuck up on us, stole the day, and painted the. Can you see that?
Can you see it? Do I need to get closer?
Yeah, maybe I'll come closer here. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we got that all clear coated. Looks great. We did that with the double shot, but that was his first mural. So really the trick is to learning the tricks and the shortcuts to be able to do the job and do it easy. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. As you do more, you'll get better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and honestly, I was more nervous to do that than I was to learn to actual paint.
I could see that. Yeah.
But then I mean, you kill it on both painting and airbrushing, but your airbrushing is so detailed and so intense and so realistic that was very intimidating going into when you said I was doing that.
Yeah.
And I just stopped by just to say what's up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, the smaller details that you save to the end, you know, but you have to have airbrush control in order to do that. I mean, some pretty gnarly airbrush control because you need to be able to get close to the surface. Remember when you did the little highlights on the eyes?
I do.
You got to hear like shaking right there. Like, oh, I was too. I was like, okay, just pull back just a little bit, please. So, but yeah, job well done.
Thanks.
First mural.
Yep.
Your second one's going to be even better if you end up going that route. But really, to be honest, painters can get away with just doing you know, line work and stuff like that. And to be honest, it's you don't need to add every trick into your help me out here into
Your repertoire.
There
Well,
you go.
although I was thinking about doing in the door jams,
There you
some
go.
murals.
There you go.
Or I was going to trick you to doing it.
Well, I might be able to trick you into helping you do it. So. But you know how I help, right?
Yes, you do.
I think you
a
need
lot.
paint right there. Yeah, so cool. We're gonna look over this thing.
Sweet.
We'll talk about the car a little bit, the year, stuff like that, if you guys are interested. But we're gonna look over the design. We are going to talk about the layering, the materials that you need. We have all the materials here laid out, so we're gonna be able to show you if you're looking to do something like this. If you have an old car and all you want to do is, you know, spice it up by putting a custom painted roof on it, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks amazing.
Thank you.
Not hard to do. You know what I mean? You just need to know the process. You need to understand the difference between pigmented paints and candy transparent paints, and how to layer those properly. But really, doing some of these bigger projects, they might look a little intimidating. However, sometimes it can be a little easier because you have, you know, you're able to run longer lines and then you have more to work with. You're not bending your tape like really sharp corners like you would on tanks and fenders, popper fenders and stuff like that. So it's a lot more forgiving. But yeah, so enough said. We'll let you talk about the car. I'll go ahead and grab the camera. We'll kind of go around. And then we'll just kind of talk about where you started. And then I'll kind of come over here and show some of the supplies that you use.
No, that's rad.
Okay, let's do it.
So the car's a 1964 Mercury Park Lane. It is a 4-door. In this particular car, the back window actually electrically rolls down.
Oh, nice.
Which was kind of one of the selling points. It's on full air ride. I didn't do the air ride on this car. It actually, when I got it, it had air ride. Wayne Morgan did the air ride on it and the 4-link in the back. When I got the car, it was on 20-inch rims. It didn't lay all the way on the ground. It had blacked out limo tint, and it had, I'm not going to make fun of the roof that was done on it. It was just not my style. So within a couple of weeks, I've done different rims and tires. I have about 35 hours maybe into the roof. I still need to wet sand it and do one more coat of clear, but that's where she's at right now.
Yep. And having that, you know, how many times did you clear? Like 4?
No, like
4,
7.
7 coats.
Yeah.
A couple light coats to start.
I did 2 light coats because I didn't want the candies to bleed through. And then I did a couple of medium coats and then a couple of heavy coats. And then my last coat, a trick for everybody is I added in some slow reducer into my clear and ran it a little heavy, and it just kind of glassed it out. It's a trick I learned from my mentor.
Yeah. I don't know who told you that, but
he kind of knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, putting a little bit of slow reducer. Takes longer for it to evaporate, and it stays wet longer, thus allowing the clear coat to be able to level out and lay smoother. Yeah, looking great. I see you got a little bit of gold leaf here.
Yep.
On the tips. That was a good touch.
Yeah, so I just wanted to gold leaf it. So I use my sizing glue and throw down my leaf, and then it is spun, but I did spin it with the 1-inch. What do we call those things? A spinner? Spinner?
Yep. 1-inch spinner. Yep.
Yeah, but I should have probably have used the littler spinner on it, but I dig the way it looks because it reflects the light when the sunlight's hitting it. Really cool.
Yeah, I like it too. Okay, so maybe we'll go through the process of, you know, how you started when you first got it. How did it look? Like, did it look like this right here?
No, so it was a black and red roof that
Okay.
had like some skull patterns in it. It just wasn't my style. And so very first thing I did was I took Limeline 600 grit wet sanding paper and the one for the DA and threw it on my DA and sanded the whole thing, wet sanded the whole thing down. Once I had everything smooth, then I did Limeline black base coat over that. And with the Limeline black base coat, I once again did a couple layers of black base, and then I did a couple layers of clear coat over that. I let that dry for 24 hours, and then I wet sanded that down.
So did you say you already put the flake on it at that point? Or
No, before I just did my black. Oh no, sorry. Yes. So after my black base, I flaked it out.
Okay.
It was heavily flaked.
Yeah. So once you sanded it, you didn't need to primer it because it was still in pretty good shape.
Yep.
So as long as you're painting on top of good paint, as long as you have it scuffed down, you're okay for your paint to go on top of it, as long as it's not like Rust-Oleum paint or some lacquer-based paint. This one-part paint, you don't want to do that. You would want to get that all the way off. But being that it was automotive paint, you're able to basically scuff it down, get it all cleaned up with some wax and grease remover.
Yep.
And then you would lay down the black base coat right on top of the prepped paint. As long as it's smooth and in good condition, you can get away with that. It's a great way to do it. You don't have to add the extra build of the primer. If it's not needed, it's best not to use it. Keep your layers thin if you can, because we already go super thick with these. So there's no reason just to start that out like that.
Yep. And actually these patterns are going to be both on the hood and the trunk. But for that, I am going to sand this down and primer.
Okay, so the plan of the future here is you're eventually going to take this design right here and you're going to replicate it on to the hood.
Yep, and on the trunk.
And on the trunk.
Yep.
Okay, and then probably bring it out on this edge too, right?
Well, I have some. Yeah, it'll come down, but I have some other ideas for the actual like this line through here on both sides. A little bit different, but still keeping a traditional 70s style lowrider.
Okay, cool. So I'll kind of go over the materials that we needed up to this point.
Okay.
So the primer. So if we did have to primer it, say like we had a bare metal rusted hood. So if we have a bare metal rusted hood, you want to prime it with. There you go. You're learning. The epoxy primer. Epoxy.
I want everybody to know that I'm actually a professional hand model. So when I do these things, you're lucky I'm not charging.
Wow, that's smooth. I'm telling you. So the epoxy primer sticks to everything. Given the name epoxy, sticks like hell. It does really good. The nice thing about epoxy too is it does really well at sealing up the metal and keeping it from corroding. And once the metal starts to corrode, it's actually epoxy is a sacrificial primer. It will start to give itself up and before it starts to before the metal starts to give way. But like everything, eventually things start to break down. But your best bet is epoxy primer if you want the most durable finish, or I'm sorry, the most durable prep finish. But there is some downfalls to this. It dries rock hard. It's sandable, but it really is not a high build primer. We would use another product to do that. So if we did have to, if that was a metal roof and we did a little bit of work to it, we would hit it with the epoxy. We would let it dry. We would scuff it down, and then we would hit it with the sandable primer. So the sandable primer. So this is a urethane primer. So this primer is going to act a lot different. It still will protect the metal, but not to the extent what the epoxy can do. But this is great. This will build high. It'll sand really easy. It sands right off, sands real smooth. You can use a hard block, soft block, whatever. Over body filler works great. Direct to metal still works great. So if say like your roof was painted,
okay,
but you had like a bunch of like rock chips, like a normal old car, you had to sand it down to get it smooth, right? To get the whole surface smooth. But you have a bunch of bare metal spots, that would be okay, but because you're going to use that and there's just a couple spots, definitely that's when you want to use that. Or once again, if it's all prepped or if it's all painted, factory painted, you can also just use the primer as well.
And
on top of that,
the epoxy primer, that's a 1-to-1, right?
1-to-1.
And then this is a 4-to-1, if I remember right.
That is correct. Yep. Yep. So all the measurements will be on the back of the can. But yes, that comes as a 2-quart kit with the epoxy that mixed together. Great question.
Now, what
epoxies be used for tables and all that?
It's not the same. It's not like an epoxy resin pour or anything like that. It's different. It's a gray epoxy. You can use it on wood and stuff like that, but it's going to be for automotive purposes to putting automotive paint on top of it.
Clear.
It's not clear. Nope. No, it's not like an epoxy pour. It's a completely different product. Okay, so another thing we probably want to mention, honorable mention here,
yes.
is the 1K high build primer. So this is just the one part.
Well, and I use that quite a bit on like my skateboard decks. I use that on the mailbox I did. I've used this on actually almost more stuff of my little stuff than I have the other primer on my big stuff. It's almost, I don't know why, but I use this one on like the wood and stuff like that.
Yeah, quick and easy, especially especially on art projects. I mean, you can definitely get away with using that on art projects, on little areas and stuff like that. But if you're gonna do an overall paint job, you're better off, if you're gonna spend the money. Get the 2-part. The 2-part, part A, part B mixed together is gonna be durable, more durable. It's gonna dry faster and a lot harder. So
Correct.
maybe not dry faster, but it will dry. It actually dries slower, but it dries
Harder.
Yes. Okay. So, and we did mention the black base coat.
Oh yeah, This is the. I mean, it's not the exact one in this can, but this is the lime black base coat that I did use.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's so the black base coat sprayed right over the primer once
Yep.
that was sanded and cleaned and prepped. And then after that, we can mix up our
Metal flake.
metal flakes that comes in a.
And actually, you know what I like about the limelight metal flakes? I don't have to worry about measuring.
That's right.
I have it all in this pack. I could actually just dump this whole thing in if I wanted.
Right. Yeah, 1 pint into 1 pint of we recommend clear coat, 2K clear coat. How do you do it? You can also put an intercoat clear.
I do it in the intercoat clear,
Okay.
the limelight intercoat clear.
Yep. So you can use intercoat clear too.
Yep.
Sometimes the clear coat will help it lay out a little faster and a little quicker because it lays out. But to be honest with you, sometimes you get a little more bling with those, because if you spray it with clear base coat or intercoat clear, it dries faster and some of the flakes will kind of like hang up, right?
And then that's where they kind of gets
It gets a little
and all that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do have a. I'm not a professional,
but close.
Close. But don't stick your finger in this and then wipe your face. I'm not saying why I know that, and I'm not saying that my wife thought I was at a dance club of any kind. But you just don't want to do that with this. It will stick to you.
It will. Definitely don't put it in your nose.
Your clothes, your shoes.
So after we apply the metal flake,
Yep.
We have to do something to get it to smooth it out, right?
And that's when I put down Limeline 2K clear coat.
Clear coat, but isn't clear coat meant when you're all finished?
No. And actually, one of the things that I have learned from my mentor is that the 2K clear is one of those deals that, like, if you're laying down something like the flake, for example, and I lay down the flake and then I do my clear coat over it, and let's say I accidentally am being stupid and I spill after it's cured, and I spill a tiny bit of black candy on it, I could actually get urethane reducer and kind of wipe that off.
Yep.
And it doesn't really affect anything.
Yep. It's a way to be able to save what you've done so far. The only thing is once it dries, you have to sand it smooth to get the next paint to stick to it.
Yes. Paint
doesn't stick to smooth surfaces. Yeah. So it needs that. It sticks one of 2 ways, actually. It sticks to mechanically to a grit that's been sanded into a surface, or it can stick chemically. And that's if one way that works is if you were to spray the epoxy primer after a half an hour, but no longer than an hour, you can spray the color right on top of that epoxy without sanding. But you do have did you know that?
No.
But you do have a window. So there is a window there. Because if you go outside of that window, you could have an adhesion problem because the epoxy has already closed up tight enough that it's not accepting the chemical adhesion for the next layers. Because, the base coat that we spray on has a reducer in it. Yeah. And that reducer will I guess the best way to say it would be would loosen up that the epoxy because it's not dry enough yet, and it'll kind of like uh, uh, I'm trying to look for a good word with this. It bonds the two together,
Yeah.
right? Chemically bonds the
Yeah.
two together. So
Well, and I've used this on 98% of all my projects. Now Limeline has 2K clear in a spray bottle or spray can.
that's right.
And so the other 2%, I've been growing more and more fond of my smaller projects using the 2K clear in the
Spray can, the double shot. Yep. Yep. We do have the double shot, 2 parts, part A, part B in the can.
Yeah.
So that's a good way too.
It's been helpful, like super handy on small projects.
Right. And the black base coat in the can too.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that stuff's good stuff. Actually, I have Ashley here.
Oh, here.
Yeah, while we got our in-house hand model, we're gonna go ahead.
We got the double shot, and you can twist. You pull this out, twist it. You can hear it and kind of feel it, and it actually brings the part A and part B into the can. You shake it up a little bit, and if I remember right, you have about an hour.
You actually have 24 hours with that can.
That's
Yep.
what it is. Yep.
Yep. 24 hours with that can. Obviously you're not going to be spraying for 24 hours with that can, but
I mean, it just depends.
yeah. If you're spraying a little bit at a time, maybe it'll last 24 hours. But yeah, that's a good option to be able to get things cleared. Even if you're doing a motorcycle tank, that's a great option. That one can will do one motorcycle helmet or a small motorcycle tank.
And instructions are on the back.
Yep. And that'll help you out.
Someone says, if you mix the flake with the 2K clear, do you need to do another coat or 2 of 2K clear again over it?
So, I mean, I would personally do that. I would, if I mix it in 2K clear, because you're still, once you spray that flake out, even if it's in the clear, there's still going to be little pieces of the flake that you can kind of see. And so I would do a couple more coats of clear and then let that glass out. And then the next day or 48 hours later, go in and wet sand it and do one more coat of clear. And that will just glass the whole thing out and your roof will look blingy.
Yep.
Bling, bling.
Yep. So if you're going to be putting intercoat clear into and spraying your flake in intercoat clear, it needs to be clear coated over the top. The 2K clear coat is what's going to build the thickness to be able to cut it down smooth. Because once you get done flake, there's a lot of texture there. You need to be able to, yeah. So that's probably 7 or 8 coats of just to get that to bury. So you can sand that down 24 hours later and you're good to go. The process is actually pretty quick. People think that I got to clear it how many times, but there's a lot of work in the prep. You can get it clear coated, go home, come back the next morning, and you're ready to sand and get going again. So, that's, and you get a lot of times we have a little bit, if you're a full-time painter, a little bit of filler work in between, kind of helps out for those dry times, but you can still get a lot done. Dries quick. Okay. So basically at this point, if we use the clear coat, this whole roof would look like this silver right here.
Yep.
So imagine this whole roof, just this silver, like that pinstripe right there. And that's where you start, right? That's where the magic starts. You have everything smoothed out. So the flakes on there, the clears on there, and you smooth it out. And now the surface is smooth enough, not 100% perfect, but close enough to where you're able to get it cleaned up and start running your tape lines.
Well, and when you wet sand that down, one of the things that I was not doing at the very beginning was wet sanding it down enough. Like you don't want to burn through it where you're seeing your base coat, but you want it to be, you want it to almost look foggy. Like the clear coat and your flake will go foggy and it scares you. You think you screwed it up.
Yeah.
Then it ends up like, I wish the sun was beating down on this right now because you almost can't even look at it so flaked out.
Right. In the sun, it's a completely different paint job in the sun. Yep.
And so once I did that, then the very first thing I did was I ran line tape, fine line tape from my hood ornament, and I ran it all the way to the back, and I held it up, and I dropped it down to get the dead center.
Get the center line. Yep.
Measured it up to make sure that I have the exact center, and I left the center line there. And then I measured off the center line, and the very first thing I did were these flames.
Okay, so just to recap real quick, you took a piece of fine line and you hooked it right to the front of your hood ornament there because you knew that's the center point of your car.
Yep.
And then you kind of just draped it up.
Ran it all the way back, and I have a hood or a trunk emblem here. And so I held it, and then I dropped it straight down, and I got actually it blew me away the first time I got exact center.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the best way to do it, really. And the fact that you have a lot of distance here between the hood or the roof and the roof to the hood right there, yeah, you're gonna get that nice and straight. Once you got that, it's really you just have to design half the hood now.
Yep.
Because you already knew you're gonna do the same thing on the other side.
Yep.
So now you can just like, okay, well, at least I got half my work done as
Yep.
far as mentally, as far as graphics goes. You can just think about, what to do next. So did you draw this out? Did you plan it out? How much of this did you think out, and how much did it change by the time you started taping?
Well, so how it worked was I normally just kind of go with the flow of what the project looks like. But on this one, I was like so nervous about it that I actually did kind of sketch it out. And then one of the things I lucked out on is I brought it down here, and we're actually at a secret location. This is the Limelight compound, and it is a secret
Yeah, we can't show them too much. There we go.
Oh, that was almost too much. That was too much. But with that, everything actually pretty much stayed pretty close to being what it was, except for Adam had a rad idea of it was a lot of color what I was trying to do, and he had suggested that I do a black fade with lace to break up all the colors, and honestly I think that's what really makes this whole thing pop. So once I had that, I went home, I was all gun-ho, taped out my first section, which actually this silver line right here was my border line that I took all the way around, and with fine line tape, say that 4 times, I did out my seaweed flames.
Nice. So you started with the 1/4 inch right here.
Yep.
I'm guessing right there, and then once you got that panel down, you just ran the 16th inch, and then ran your little wiggle line
Yep,
right
my
here.
little whoop-de-woos.
Yeah. So and then what about when you and you just I'm guessing you just kept moving on this side, right? Or did you go straight to that side?
Yeah, no, I did my flames on this side, laid those out, and then I laid them out on the other side.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because you kind of knew, like, okay, I know I'm doing this.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
I know I'm going with it because I can see it. I know I like it. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate on that on the other side.
Yep.
And then you can work off of that. You can build off of what you've already done.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's really intimidating to try to. I don't figure my paint jobs all the way out. I usually get the colors together and then a couple of the main designs, and I'll run some designs through my head. I rarely ever draw anything out. It's more if I just tape it out to see if I like it. So
Yeah.
if it looks good taped out, I go with it. If not, I just tear it.
Well, and that's, I had that in my head too, because I'm like, I knew I wanted certain things, right? And I kind of knew I wanted them in certain spots, but then again, I mean, a lot of this stuff had actually changed once I started laying out lines.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, like, even with like the Serape, I wasn't sure if I was going to go with our 3/4 inch tape or if I was going to do the little bit smaller. What size is that again?
That's a 1/4 inch.
Quarter inch.
I love the 3/4 inch tape. I've never seen it done in 3/4 inch tape. The reason why I like it so much is if you're to back up like quite a ways, you can still tell that that's Serape blanket.
Yeah.
Smaller lines, you're going to start to lose, some of the, I don't know, it just looks so smooth from a distance. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I really like it. I personally never thought about doing them that big, but I love the fact that you did, and I may copy you someday. So just so you know.
Hey, that's fine by me. I've copied you a lot.
That's okay. That's okay.
I don't know if you had a hard time doing the Serape because of your height.
Oh, great.
Okay, first off, I'm 6'2". Adam's just really tall.
Yeah.
Okay, he's like 6'5".
You talk about me laying down or standing up.
Either way, it doesn't matter. No, even my wife Candace, was that my wife asking that smart ass question?
No.
Okay. I thought she was gonna get punched. But no, it actually, I mean, just once I had that rectangle out, just getting my first line was the most important thing. And then I just separated them. And as I went through it, I did leave little tiny gaps because in Serape, you always have little pieces of color or silver or whatever in between. And so I tried to copy that a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And actually on the other side, the driver's side is the side that Candace did all herself.
Oh, okay. Well, let's check that side out.
Than I am.
Probably not with her hair done, right? With it real high. Oh yeah, this side looks way better.
It does. She did. I should have done the whole thing.
Yeah, that looks great. That looks great. So yeah, so easy enough. I mean, it's not too hard of a design. I mean, you got the rectangle out first.
Yep.
And then you knew that you were going to be filling this up with Serape.
Yep.
And you just mixed up different colors of candy. So I'm guessing this is the red candy. You just
Yep. Red candy, just diluted it a little bit.
Yep.
And didn't do as heavy of coats. And
Uh-huh.
then that's our green. Well, I mixed blue and green, our blue and gold candies together, and I got this cool green.
uh-huh.
And
That's cool.
then we actually have a purple.
Purple candy, or you
Purple
could make
candy.
it. Yeah, you can make
Yeah,
it with
or you can
you
make
can make
it
it with
blue
these
and
two
red.
colors. Yeah.
And then we have orange candy, but once again, you can make that with the 3 colors that we have.
Yep.
And then I did silver and black, and then just our blue.
Yep.
And just ran it through.
So basically, if you can do all these colors with just 3 colors,
Yes.
with the red, the gold, and the blue.
Yep.
Because that's going to make all these colors if you mix them correctly. It even does the root beer brown, which there's no root beer brown on here.
I did actually no root beer.
No root beer brown. Well, the last one you did a lot of root beer
Well,
brown.
that's
right?
what I always feel like. I love root beer brown, so I always feel like I use that on everything.
Me too. And it's a sad thing, but
Yeah.
um,
So I decided
I like
no
the fact
root
you
beer
did.
brown at all.
Yep.
Because actually, where this purple is with the squiggly line, that almost was root beer brown.
Oh, really? Okay. No. So I like it like that. Yeah. Yep. It keeps it nice and bright and nice and clean.
Oh, so with the flames though, I laid out my flames. I then taped everything off of that line right there and this line right here, taped everything off, and then taped the center of my flames.
You tape those off too.
Yep, those were taped off first.
Okay.
And so then I did my background first, which is our Limeline Gold Candy.
Okay.
and
So this
then
is
our
gold.
Limeline Orange.
So how did you get this texture here?
So trick that you taught me, I got a Walmart bag, crumbled it up, sprayed it with orange, and then dabbed it everywhere, so it kind of gives a marbling effect.
Yeah, it looks. I've never seen marbling done like that. And actually, when I first saw it, I was like, "What? That is a different looking pattern." And I thought it might have been marbleized, but when you see it from a distance, it's like a big marbleized pattern, right? It's
Yep.
like a chunky one.
Yep.
Almost like it's chunky like the Serape blanket.
Yep.
I like it. It's very cool to see at a distance. Like it makes a big impact. You could have done a lot more and made it more. I like it better this way. I like it better with bigger splots. You could, it would have. Yeah, different look. I love it.
Yep.
I noticed you have your drop shadow in
Yep,
there.
have a drop
Yeah, proud of you
shadow.
on that one. That's not an easy thing to do.
No, drop shadows always scare me.
Yep.
But it's just control with that airbrush is all it was.
Yep. If you say like you had your flames done and all of your work done, you could have cleared it and then put your drop shadows in. And if you happen to mess them up, like you mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
you can either wipe it off with some lacquer thinner or sand it off, because it kind of gives you that barrier to be able to
Mess up.
Yep. And or experiment.
Yeah.
Because if you're thinking of something and you're like, I'm not sure if that's going to look good, I might try that tomorrow, and I don't know. Clear it, clear coat it. Yeah, you do have to come in the next day, and you do have to sand it. No big deal. But you're getting a smoother surface, and you're able to play with designs and stuff like that, and not be married to them once you spray them down. But yeah, it looks great. So you taped off that, and then you taped off the flame. You
Yep.
did the background
Taped the
there.
background, undid the background, then taped off all the background.
Oh, okay. So back masked
Yep.
back onto what you painted.
Yep, and then
Yep.
I laid down my blue. And this is actually, believe it or not, that's only 2 coats of our Limelight Blue candy.
Two coats right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So this color right here, the fade you kind of did on the
Mhm.
inside here, is that gold or is that green?
Just green.
Okay. So yeah, so gold probably would have almost gave that same effect. That's why I asked.
Oh.
Because a transparent gold
Mhm.
on top of a blue is going to turn green.
Okay, face the camera towards me. He's the master of the color wheel. I'm not. It amazes me how much he knows about the damn color wheel.
Well, there's only 3 primary colors. I
doesn't
mean,
matter.
come
It does not
on.
matter.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
the
that's
va-
a hard thing.
the variations get pretty crazy after like the tertiary colors. I agree, but
No, I came down here. I said, "Hey, how can I make like a turquoise?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, this is what we do. Blah 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 blah." I forgot it before I left, so now I have blue.
yeah.
Oh, so I got all that done, and then I actually taped off this little section through here through my sizing glue down, through my gold leaf down, and I actually have 2 coats of leafing on there. Then spun it,
Mhm.
and then once that was all dry, the next day I taped this whole section off. And oh no! I did tape this whole section off, and then once I had it done on both sides, I took my line, my squiggly all the way around, and I did the purple, and then down here it kind of, I did a little bit of our line red, but I added in, oh, I didn't grab it, our pink pigment,
Oh,
the powder.
you added pink pigment into
I did,
into what? Into what did you do?
and the '90s blue. So I added pink pigment into the limelight candy red.
Oh, interesting.
And this
That's
is
it?
has purple over it, but this is what I got. But come take a look at this. If you notice on where it curves in, you
Uh-huh.
can see more pink than purple.
Yeah.
And then here is where this is limelight red with pink pigment in it.
Huh.
I think so. Is that the '90s pink? Just a regular pink. And so that's actually what gave me this pink right here in the middle, and then I faded in purple all around it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this actually was a stencil that my friend Heather made me, and I stuck the stencil on and then faded in black to blue candies.
Nice. Yeah, I love the squiggly lines too. I feel like when you first mentioned that to me, I wasn't sure that it definitely fits the vibe of the whole paint job.
So that's what I threw in the red candy.
Oh wow. So just a little bit of the pink
Just
metallic.
one little half scoop.
Okay. And it still has the metallic in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great way to think, man.
Thanks. Well,
Okay.
I was trying to go a little different. So once I got this all done, then I waited till the next day. And I came out and I cleaned the roof off, and then I taped out the pattern in the middle and taped out all my rectangles. And so I wanted something that kind of, since my last name is Diamond, I wanted something that kind of resembled a diamond, but wasn't a diamond,
Uh-huh.
but also had like a '70s funk vibe to it.
Yep.
And so I actually sprayed pink with the thing, with the powder in it in the middle, and then I taped everything off, painted that, and then I faded purple all the way around it, so it kind of turned it a little bit more purple. And then I took
I noticed that actually the blend from the blue here
mhm,
to that, I love it.
thanks.
I love it. And you should really try to do more of that later on.
Okay.
Like that's great. I like that.
Well, and actually that blue in the middle has our limelight. It's our limelight blue candy, and I put in limelight
Oh, see,
'90s blue.
they're doing it again. That I'm gonna have to do more of that. So you're just spicing that candy up a little bit.
Yep.
Considering it's a metallic, it's not really covering the flake. It's just adding its own little shimmer to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I wanted something different than the blue and pink I had in the Serape.
Okay.
So I did. I taped off from this line. I taped this whole middle piece off, and then I taped off the flames I'd already done, and then obviously I taped off my chrome. And so all I had exposed was this purple line, this in here, and this middle piece. And when I did this, I taped off this, and when I did this, I taped off this.
Okay, so you're just doing one back masking
It is back masking.
the panel.
Yep, and we're actually having tonight, just so everybody knows, we're having a Limelight exclusive. And Adam and Ashley were not going to release this. And I said, we have to release it tonight because it's the pattern I used. So they're going to wonder where we got it. But if you guys can see it in the middle of the little whoop-de-woos in the middle, there's what I call my diamond pattern.
Oh yeah.
And you can actually get the B diamond leather pattern in this new pattern pack that Limeline's going to be dropping here soon.
Beautiful.
When are we going to drop this, Ash? Adam, when are we dropping this one?
You know, I've had a lot of empty promises lately. I don't know. Monday, yeah, not gonna happen on Monday because I got classes on Monday.
But in this, how many different templates do we have in here? Like 10?
There's
8?
8.
I think it's 8.
Yep.
And they're actually
9. Take them out.
let's do it.
8 or 9.
Actually, you know what we're gonna
It's
do
8 or
tonight?
9.
When we do the giveaways, why don't we give out this? One
Okay.
I already opened up.
That sounds good.
And for
Okay.
everybody out there that gets it, I will personally kiss this package.
You heard it. You heard it here first. We need some lip smackers on there first.
But there really is. I mean, there's some super rad patterns in here. So that one's super rad. This is the one. Oh no, this is. I kind of call that the Chinese lantern or the Japanese lantern.
Yeah. I think that's actually yeah.
Oh, back from Morocco.
Oh hell yeah! Now this is the one that I use in the middle.
The B diamond.
The B diamond pattern.
Wow.
This is a B diamond exclusive pattern in this pack if you get it. But we have a bunch of super rad different patterns. This, you know what? I actually should have used this one, obviously,
Yeah.
but the other one's super rad with the circle.
No, I like the other one.
Yeah.
It's more detail in it. But yes, that one's cool too.
So to save a little bit of time, we're going to do double patterns here. So there is seriously a bunch of super rad. Were you counting?
Yeah, I think there's 9.
So look at that, guys and gals.
Yep. So it's all whatever fits the vibe of your project, really. And I felt like that one did a good job of that.
And I will be kissing this, mwah, and I'll sign this for you guys.
All right. And yeah, so hashtag Lime into the comments because we're going to be giving away, which we're getting pretty close. We're going to talk a little bit more about the products, but at the end of this, we're going to be giving away 2 gift cards, and one of you will get the special kiss to pack
Yes.
there.
And Adam and I have talked about me coming on live and showing everybody how I do my serapes.
Yep.
Because there's a couple of different ways to do serapes that I've learned so far, and I mean, Adam honestly is probably the master at serapes.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people do it better than me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I like it. To be honest, I like it bigger better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Okay, so once I got the purple, the blue, the pink fade done, and the center, I then taped off everything but this line, so this line to this line. And then actually I lied, I taped this line to this line. I taped this off because I hadn't done the serape yet, and I did my lace down, and I took black candy, or technically, if you really wanted, you could use the black base coat. And I faded from this line in to kind of give a little bit darker of an edge, and faded more in for the where I knew I was going to do the serape. Got that all done, and then I taped everything off and pulled this, did all the lines. This probably took, besides taping the flames and backmasking the flames, this probably took the very longest, just because there's 92 stripes. And when I'm doing my serape, so I have 1, 2, 3 pinks, and I number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so I'll pull 6 first.
So you have all your tapes down,
Yep.
laid out,
Number them.
and you number them. You draw on them. Okay.
And I usually do them in groups of 5 or 6. This one I did 6, and I'll draw on it. I'll do my numbers, and I'll write pink. And then this one just said black. This one said black. This was orange with 2 coats, 1 coat. So I pull all my 6s on the pink, and then I spray that 6 times, but waiting in between, because you never want to overdo your candies. I learned that the hard way.
Yep. Don't oversaturate.
Yeah, don't oversaturate.
More coats.
It will pull out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
You don't want to get it all done in a couple of sprays, you know. Did you do that with the minigun or airbrush?
I actually did that with the minigun. So
Oh, okay.
I'm glad you brought that up. So these are the two main guns that I use. So
Okay.
I use the minigun for I use the minigun for the fades. Actually, the minigun I use for almost everything on here besides the clear coat on this project.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so like for the fade, I actually adjusted it down so the pattern wasn't wide. It was just kind of a narrow pattern, and ran my fade like this.
Yep.
Went around a couple of times, and then the pro gun, this actually lays down clear like nobody's business. Like I tried using this for clear one time and it worked out good. And then I'm like, oh man, I just want a bigger, I wanted something different. So I tried this for the first time and it just glassed out everything. I still will use, I have one of these for clear for smaller projects,
Uh-huh.
and then one of these for color. And then I just have my big gun, my pro gun for clear only.
That's nice. Yeah, that works well that way.
Yep.
And also, you probably could have done the graphics with the big gun too. However, that's going to put bigger droplets down, causing you to have to apply more paint.
Yeah.
So using the smaller gun, you can actually get the job done with less paint, and less chances of oversaturation, getting paint pull when you pull your tape edges. So
Which
yeah,
does happen.
it does happen. So basically, what you're telling me is when you're paneling this out, here's a rectangle panel here. Here's a rectangle panel here. Here's another one inside of this other one. Here's another panel here. This one just happens to go around.
Yep.
And then everything's duplicated on the other side.
Yep.
You're just painting a panel. So you're masking out the inside, painting the negative,
Yep.
and then just flip flopping it, back masking and doing that. So once that's done, you go to the other side, do that.
Yep.
Here, same thing. Cover up that, do the background, flip flop, do your Serape blanket, and that takes a little bit of time to lay out all those colors. And then same thing with the center panel there. So if you really break this down, and if you were to look at this as a whole paint job, it looks like how do you do that? How is that done? But if you break it down and you really look at it, we're just painting a panel at a time. Once you just worry about your panel, you're going to do, lay it out. If you like it, go with it. If not, try something else.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot easier, just kind of building off of what you got.
Well, and for me too, when I've been doing this stuff, I've been trying to make sure that it flows and blends good. Like I have obviously green and blue are stark contrast from gold and orange, but it makes it pop out. And so the colors that I chose to line this and mask with these are almost opposite colors, but it makes it pop. But you can't do that with every single color because sometimes you get too many colors and too many things, and then it just looks like a jumbled mess.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to think things through. And one of the things that has helped me out a lot with that is getting smaller projects, whether it's a skateboard deck, and then I just experimented with all the line colors that I had. With the candies that I had, the gold, the red, and the blue, mixing them together, figuring out what flows together. And I have a couple things that I'm like, dang, that I don't like the way that looks. So I then switched it up, tried something different next time. Excuse me. And then I think you can get to a point where you start being like Adam and understand the color wheel and how things flow and blend together. But in all reality, I really can't take any credit for this silver and black panel. That was Adam. And I really think that if what I was going to do in here with all the color would have just made it too colorful and too much.
It may have been all right. I mean, when you were talking to me, I thought like, I didn't want you to overdo it because I've done it personally in my past. I've threw every trick in the book on one car before, and after you're done, you're like, oh, I did it. I did that's my whole life's work right there. And it just, there's balance you have to think about. And the good thing about lowriders is I feel, and like I told you with the colors, I say you can make it all colorful and you can get away with it. I mean, really with lowriders, there's you can really get away with whatever you want to do as far as that goes. It can be wild. Yeah. But there's, there's sometimes you go overboard on certain other cars, but no, I this actually amazes me how well this turned out.
Me too.
Yeah.
When I was all done, I'm like, oh crap, that actually is not bad.
Right. So after you have everything done, so
Okay.
you've done all of you. So say you've done all of these so far.
Okay.
You painted the negative of the panel,
Yep.
then you painted whatever inside the panel.
Yes.
But while this was all happening, you still had your fine line, lime line
Oh yeah.
tape laid down the whole time.
100%.
In fact, that's the last thing you pulled, right?
Oh yeah, no, my like any place that you see the silver lines, that is the very last thing I pulled before I clear coated anything, and that includes like this line in here, that line, that line, that line, that line. All of these lines were the very last thing that I pulled.
Yep. So that makes it nice because you're not realigning tape or anything like that. You're basically paneling it out with the tape and back masking on both sides,
Yes.
going back and forth and stuff like that. And then you pull that fine line tape when you're all done, ready to clear.
Yeah.
And that's then everything starts to crispen up, right?
Yep.
Because then even then when you're painting it, you're like, it looks a little like
Yeah. Well,
fuzzy
it
and
did.
blurry, because the tape's still on.
Well, and I had to keep in the back of my mind the whole time is what you told me when I was doing that Dia de los Muertos realistic girl painting with the airbrush, and that was sometimes it almost has to look crappier to make it look better at the end.
Yep.
And so, like honestly, like my drop shadows, like when I got done, I was so upset. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, Candace is out there. I'm all, oh, this sucks. I have to redo the whole stupid thing. She's like, babe, just go to sleep. Just take a breather, go out and look at it in the morning. And so when I went out and looked at it in the morning, and then I was able to pull some of my panels that I was exposing, the drop shadow just worked and it made sense.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah, and it's not an easy thing to do to run a freehanded drop shadow with an airbrush like that. Yeah, I thought you might have even taped it up from the distance. I was like, how did he do that? Did he have
that
did
was
he did he have the confidence just to run that?
holding my breath and going, no.
Yeah, that looks great.
Thanks.
And then also you can take that candy black and you could put more clear base coat in there, and really you could just keep you can mess up a lot as long as it takes a lot to build it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I used to do that a lot because really nothing beats a freehand drop shadow like this, because it gives it the look of it's actually lifted off the panel. I mean, if you were to tape this up and then just run a shadow along the edge, that would look good too, but it just doesn't have the same look. This actually looks like it's kind of like raised off the panel, especially when you look at it from a distance there.
Thanks.
And you always have to remember, like, painting a roof like this is different than painting, say, a chopper tank or anything that's like looked up like really up close. I mean, these cars are meant to be enjoyed from at least the lane next to it, right? And a distance.
It was actually cool on my way down to the secret compound. People were hauling ass up to the car and staring at it, doing photos, and they'd back off, and then another car. It was just cool to see.
Yeah. And then once you get the rest of the car painted, this thing's just going to be a magnet.
So besides bringing the patterns down here, I'm separating this line right here, and I'm going to do little bubbles in that line all the way down, and it'll be white base, and then I'll do the couple of different colors. And then this line right here, it's going to go fingerprints fading into endless lines. And then I was going to go crazy on the side of the car, but I do love the way this pink and purple combo looks.
Okay.
And so I'm almost trying to get that figured out, because I don't want to flake the side, but I'm trying to, and this will be up to you and how we do it, but I want to get this same look minus heavy flake, maybe down here with like a purple fade around it and the pink in the middle.
Yep.
Yep.
And the way to do that would probably just to run coarse silver on top of black base coat, and then you can add that same color into your candy again. So that's going to make it so you don't have all the work of blocking down the metal flake and getting it all smoothed out, especially on the side. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could definitely save yourself a lot of time by doing that. But I agree with you. I mean, even if you had a nice blend from both sides, like coming up from there to there and blend it in.
Yep.
And yeah, that's really going to make all the rest pop.
Yep.
This is going to be a big deal too, because I think a lot of people are going to see that panel. I love that. Just the body lines and the hardware on this car. So cool.
Well, from my research, they said that this was the top of the line Merc for the year. and they were trying to make it a since Mercury, Lincoln, and Ford are the same company. This is considered the baby Continental. Like,
Oh,
this-
okay.
yeah. And so I was even thinking about if you guys know me, which some of you watching do, I go through cars kind of a lot. And but if I keep this car, I'm actually going to make the back door suicide like the '64 Lincolns.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's basically it, right?
Besides, we got one main thing. I pull all the tape.
Uh
I pull my lines, and I'm ready for clear. And I'm crapping my pants right now because guess what? I'm ready for clear.
huh.
It could ruin or make the whole car, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you don't,
If I screw up, I get a big dry spot.
if you get a big dry spot, you're okay. I mean, you would just scuff it in that dry spot area, sand the rest of the car. You would scuff it in that dry spot area because you don't want to burn through.
Yeah.
And then just put more clear.
Oh.
Just another round of clear if
Yeah.
you feel like you may have got a dry spot. You didn't get any dry spots on this.
No.
And really the hard work is in the tape and the design. But really, I mean, you got it though.
Yes. And so I just cleared it, and I actually have, I think, 7 layers. Can't remember if it's 7 or 8 layers of clear, but one of the two.
And then the plan for this is you're going to end up sanding this smooth.
I'm wet sanding this down smooth.
Yep.
I'm in a car club called the Unlucky Ones, and we put on a car show called the Junction City Classic up here in Ogden. And that's Saturday. So after, I'm going to leave it just like this for Saturday. Then after Saturday, I'm wet sanding the whole roof down, masking everything off again as far as like chrome, and then running probably a couple of tack coats and then maybe 1 or 2 full coats.
Full coats. Yep. And the good thing is you already have all that candy already buried in the clear, so that's not vulnerable. So your next clear coat session, you're not going to have to worry about like the candies leaching up into your clear coat and getting shifted around because you've already locked everything down.
Yeah.
When you sand this, the next time you clear it, oh, it's gonna look like $1 million. You're like, do I even need to buff this thing? You know, I mean, even now it looks good. I mean, if you look up close, you can tell there's dirt specks and stuff like that. Which I mean, that's kind of a given because you got so much stuff going on with all the paint, all the back masking, all the paint, the thicknesses of the paint between the layers. There's a lot going on there, so you need to get enough clear to be able to bury that, and then realize it's going to be rough in a couple of areas, and then sand that smooth. But I think it's smart. You can always clear that when you're going to do your next session.
Yeah.
On there.
Thinking too.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about overspray and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's great. Cool.
They want to know if they can see under the hood and the other parts of the car too.
Oh, I thought they meant my hood. I was like, well, what underwear am I wearing today?
They all said you did a really good job. And
Thank you.
They love the blanket.
Under the in the motor, it's a stock 390, so it's really nothing special. The interior is in relatively good shape, besides the front seat where you actually sit down on your hiney. It's just been worn out, so it's just these for right now until I can get it recovered. Oh, and one of the fun features of the car is the back window, like I already said, rolls down.
Oh yeah, the airflow on it. It's just great.
Oh, nice. It was 100 degrees today, and I was cruising in this, and it was fine. And then it has this. Like a real train horn.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, look at like the light on the Casa.
Oh yeah.
That's really pretty.
Yeah, that really does. That really does make that pop. I like the idea you did that. Huh.
So that's a great question. For right now, I'm actually gonna get the fur that I have on the dash and do the whole headliner in the long fur for right now.
Oh, nice. Easy enough.
Yeah, and then the trunk's really big, has air ride in it, air tank.
That thing is
like
huge.
that, yeah.
Well, cool. We'll kind of go over real quick. We'll go over the candy colors because we kind of didn't mention those.
Okay.
So now, every color that you did on this car.
Is right. Well, yeah, get candy black, Oh, we don't have our gold out.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll minus the gold.
Yeah, minus the gold.
But Ashley's going to get the gold. So with the red, obviously you have red candy,
Yep.
blue candy, you have black transparent candy, and you
Yep.
use that for like the shadows and all the edging
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff like that.
On the Serape, the drop shadow I did all the way around that is the black candy.
Yeah, that looks great. So look, put a nice fade on that. Yeah, that makes it the biggest difference. So I mean, with the red and the gold, you have the orange.
Yep.
And then with the red and the blue, you have the purple. And with the blue and the
Gold, I have the green.
you have green. And you can always make turquoise by changing the amounts of what you put in there. And then you can also change the shades.
And that's what I did for the pink. One of the cool things about the Limeline red concentrate is if you spray it, you thin it just a tiny bit more and you spray it out, it actually does do more of a pink.
Yeah.
But if that's when you're making your actual candy blend, if you don't put in as much of the red, it will do more of a pink. But if you put in more red, so typically I think it's 70% intercoat and 30% candy, right?
Yep.
And so that will give you a true cool red. But if you do a little bit less than that, then I figured out that I can get a really rad pink.
Yeah. And it turned out great for a pink. Yeah.
And actually, this pink right here is different than the pink on the sides.
Yeah. And
that's where I added in the.
Yeah, and that's definitely, I want to experiment more with that now that you've said something. Yeah, that's
Yeah, these are our candies though.
Yep, and like I said, those are mixed with a clear base coat because they come in concentrate form, and then they need to be reduced with urethane reducer to make it sprayable.
Correct.
Because paint comes too thick. We use urethane reducer in our paints to be able to thin them out. Whether we're using an airbrush, we would thin it out a little bit more. With the minigun, it's going to be thinned out more than what the 1.4 gun is.
So and this is the 3/4 inch tape that I used. And then also we have the 1 inch and what size? Wait, that's not a 1 inch. What size is that? 1.5 inch.
Inch and a half. Yep.
And then we also have a 2 inch.
Yep.
And so you can get them in these cool packs. I believe is there a razor? Yeah, there's a razor blade in there to cut with. But getting these saved my butt. My butt on that whole project because one of the things I do is I take either the 1.5 inch or the 2 inch. And let's say that I was bordering out the flames, I use that and I tape it along my fine line. Excuse me, my fine line, and then I drop the 2 inch down, and then I tape to the 2 inch. And
okay.
So I just like the way that comes out better for me.
Yep.
Use a little bit more tape, but in my opinion, it's well worth it.
Yeah. The smaller tapes are easier to hit the round corners, and then you block it in with the bigger tape or with paper masking. Yeah, a lot of tape.
Then one other thing I didn't talk about, but I did a little bit was when I did my leafing.
A little bit of gold leafing.
So gold leafing, which we carry. And then you can use a roller to kind of roll it on after you've done it. And then I like to use the brush and I tap it in, wiggle side to side. That's with the tape still, the fine line tape still on there. I'm brushing it in, making sure all the edges are down. And then once I pull that out, then you can get our spinners and.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I thought actually when you sent me the pictures, I thought it was white paint. I couldn't really tell, but I'm like, oh, cool, that's different. I mean, nobody's really, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
So I like how you're kind of coming up and you're making your own rules, and that's really what it's all about. Especially, you're not the first person that's done Serape blanket. You've done it pretty dang good. So I mean, there's certain things that you had certain ideas you wanted to start with, and you just built off of that.
Well, in college, believe it or not, I went to college. Ashley laughed. Why did you laugh?
I don't know. Yeah, because you believe it, huh?
My photography teacher told me something that's always stuck with me, and through my photography career, through my art career, and through my leather career, and now into paint, and that is, I can teach you a bunch of rules about how to do this. And if you follow the rules, like I have with Adam, I'll be good. But if I try new things and kind of go out and try and experiment, eventually I'll be great because of that.
Yeah.
So follow the rules, but also try to make up your own techniques and your own things that you do.
Yep. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Once that happens, you have to sand it down.
That's right.
It's not going to ruin my car.
Nope. You can always, it's just paint. You can always fix it. That's the great thing is we're always going to have mistakes and we could always fix them up. Sometimes we got to clear it in between, to get rid of that paint edge. And then we can like feather, the color in there to be able to fix little problems. But, especially on a project this big, you're always going to have a couple little errors here and there. So usually right before the final clear coat, I'll go through, I can kind of come in here and do little stuff to be able to fix little problems.
Yeah. Want to see
Yep.
my actual problem? I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to see if you noticed it or not, and you didn't. Come over here.
Maybe I didn't. I didn't say nothing.
So I was being careless and I pulled the tape too fast right here. And right there,
Oh,
I pulled the tape, but actually that's just overlap of clear coat. So I can sand that down and you'll never see it.
so you pulled it all the way off right there, and
It went right up in here. And so I masked this off, sprayed it, and then this is actually where my overlap. It's actually right there is the problem. But that's just my overlap. So once I sand that off, it's gone.
yeah. Once that next clear, we'll be able to build over that top of that.
Yep.
Okay.
What kind of questions besides what kind of underwear am I wearing do people have?
Do you use the limelight lace?
So that's no. That's probably the only thing on the whole thing that I did not use that was line, only because I had a rad lace pattern that I've been wanting to use for probably 25 years that I've been holding on to. And I finally know how to paint now. And so I finally did that. But if I didn't have that, I would have used the limelight lace.
But yeah, that's that's good. I'm glad you used that different lace. 'Cause a lot of times a lot of people bought the lace, and it's I don't know, looks good.
Yeah.
I actually have that same lace too. I have a big collection
Of laces? Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah. All right, cool. We're gonna give a chance to hashtag line
Right now.
into the comments. Got to do it now, and we'll give those away. Any questions in the meantime, we'll take those.
So are we giving the what are we giving away again?
We're gonna give away a $25 gift certificate to the Line Paint Supply,
Hold on, let me put limelight hashtag line in there real quick.
and then we'll do after that we'll do a $50 one.
What about the stencils?
Yeah, are we doing the stencil for the first one or the second one?
We're doing the stencils for the second one.
Okay.
It's gonna be the big one.
Okay.
So yeah, just hashtag Lime into the comments. We'll give you a second to do that. Any last questions? Bring it in. Ask them. It won't be the last time we see you though.
No.
So I think
Yeah.
we're gonna bring you on to be able to show us some of the Serape blanket.
Okay. Well, and actually too, I'm not trying to promote my own self, but if you go to my Instagram, Be Diamond Leather, you can actually see the different steps for the roof that I've been posting. And it gives you an idea of when I just did the flames, when I did the Serape. I'm not going to be posting the full roof yet until after my car show on Saturday. But then after that, I'll post the full roof and all the clear and all that too.
Okay.
And some videos.
Yeah, well, the cat's out of the bag with this video.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. This is actually the world debut of Casa Perdido.
Well, I don't even know if I can say that.
Casa Perdido.
Casa Perdido.
Lost cause.
Leather question for you.
Okay.
What's a good sealer for painting leather?
So you could actually, if you want to go something local to you, there's
She's in Canada.
Canada. So there's Tandy Leathers in Canada. And so just do a tan coat. It's a great sealer that you can buy over the counter. And it's a Phoebings or Fabings. Oh,
I just came off.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, look at this.
Nice.
holy
Well,
crap.
I'll have to stick around and see this here in a second. We're gonna.
She said a painting on leather. I meant.
Oh, for painting on leather? Phoebings also has leather paint that's really good. If you send me a message on my Instagram, Be Diamond Leather, we use a new style of leather paint that Candace has really super liked. I don't remember the name of it, but I can send you the information on there.
Candace was on here and she said you were doing good, but she's cleaning out the chicken coop.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, someone has to do it. I told it's her damn chickens.
No poultry for you then, buddy.
I know, that's what she said.
Right.
No eggs for you. All right, we'll see.
Okay, should I spin the wheel?
Yep, let's do it. We're gonna spin that
Spin.
thing twice,
the wheel.
and then we're gonna give you the last look at this. Now we got some light. Look at that,
No,
right?
hey.
Wow, just a little bit of light on that thing. Telling you, like either in the direct sunlight, or I love them better under city lights.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like you take it down a street,
This street.
yeah, with all the lights,
Yep.
it just looks like a million
Well,
bucks.
and it's funny too, because I'm really kind of seeing this for the first time too. It's been in a like I had a blow up paint booth that my club brother Chris Martinez let me borrow, and so it's been in a paint booth. So I've only seen it from like paint booth, and then barely pulled it out to the driveway and came here.
Yeah,
So I really haven't truly seen this.
wow, that looks great.
That
What's
does look really great.
What's the timeline for completion on the paint job and your winners on the screen?
Oh, who do we got that
Yeah,
won?
winner
Matthew Sanford.
Matthew.
You want $25?
That's
Limeline
really
Paint
good.
Supply. Yeah, just send us an email and we'll give you that discount code.
So I think this roof, if I remember right, and I calculated, I think I'm right about 32 to 36 hours.
That's not bad. That's it's gonna take you a lot longer to do the other part.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
Should
But
you
yeah,
polish?
Maybe not though, because you already have the design mostly done.
Yeah.
Should you polish chrome trim before paint or after? Does it matter?
Wow.
I would do it after.
Yeah, I'd do it after too. Cause like even like I haven't, you can't really see it, but there's some like residue that I had on here from before I started anything. And I didn't really remove any of that. I just kind of taped over everything because I knew eventually once I got this done that I'd go back in and polish up all the chrome.
Yeah. If you polish that chrome too, oh man,
Oh,
it's such a difference.
Yep.
Yeah, I did that on my Impala, and
You mean the one you cut in half?
that's right. Well, it's cut it in third.
I'm not doing that to this car.
Yeah, we're not gonna ruffle any feathers tonight. Okay?
Feathers have been ruffled.
Yes.
All right, I'll spin and do the.
Okay, one more.
Oh,
Let's
dang,
get-
one
we'll
more.
Give the last look at the under the city lights here.
Yeah. That's a really good light
It
too.
is.
Hey.
Who
I'm
do
just trying to think what else I can reveal that's top secret down here.
The winner is Band One.
Band one.
Band One. Congratulations! You won a $50
And the
Gift
package
card.
stuff.
double kiss that thing. Double kiss
Double kissed
it.
it.
Oh
I'm gonna find
man,
a permanent marker and hand sign that too.
that's right. Okay, so we did have the lights.
Yeah.
Kind
Just
of.
turned on all of a sudden.
Yeah, so you can kind of see really getting a good idea of the sparkle now.
Dang.
It's a huge difference with the lighting. You can see how all the Serape blanket just kind of lights up.
Hi everybody. We're on live with Time Warp. That looks good.
How's it going?
Not a bad
Yeah, take a look at it. All right, we're just in a live event right here. So
One
Okay.
last time.
one more honk.
Let's do it.
You able to air it up too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tear it up and the horn. Don't let it scare you.
Woo! All right. That's it for tonight, guys. B Diamond, what do you say?
Thanks for being here on a live, and thanks for all the compliments on the car. It means a lot.
Got it. All right.
And have a rad day and night.
All right, guys. Hey, we'll see you guys. We'll see you next Thursday, same time.
Yeah, we're gonna be karate chopping, or he's gonna be karate chopping his way into your heart.
All right, we're ending it there. All right, see you guys.
Bye, guys.